Good afternoon, everybody. It is 2 o'clock, and we're going to go ahead and fire away on how to hold a Medicare and retirement planning educational seminar. I know this is not going to be the most exciting thing to talk about, but with the interest from so many folks registering for this event, I'm just super passionate to be able to share our experience. And you guys all know this, that the way that we're doing it is not the only way to do it, but from the experience that we have had and the success that we've had, it just makes it to where, man, we just want to share that success. When I say that, share those ideas so that you guys can have the exact same success. Some of the greatest things that we've all been able to benefit from over the years have come from other agents' experiences. And so just sharing ideas is all what this webinar is going to be about today. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right in and tell you how we get into how this started and just the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts. And we've learned some things the hard way of what you don't want to do. So we'll go ahead and share that now. So why should you do an educational seminar? You know, you establish such credibility when you are in front of a group of people that you know enough about your field that you're credible enough to be up in front of them. And so everybody wants to do business with the person that is the one sharing that information. I remember trying to get my dad to hold an event for me. And I'm like, I don't want to stand in front of anybody and talk. Well, you do all the talking. I'm in the back of the room organizing and facilitating this meeting while my dad's the one doing the talking. After the meeting, nobody wanted to talk to me. They wanted to talk to my dad. So you want to be the one up front and center, relaying the information. Connecting with your community, just having a place in your area that people can get answers. I know that people get bombarded as they're preparing for retirement and trying to learn Medicare. They get bombarded with phone calls, as you guys know. They get bombarded with mailings and all kinds of junk, and they're looking for somebody they would rather do, majority would rather do business face-to-face, eyeball to eyeball, than from Timbuktu, having no idea who they're talking to or if they'll ever be able to talk to that same person again. Utilizing education as your first approach. All defense is down when we just talk about education. This is not a sales seminar. We're going to get into the difference. But when we get to provide very clear education, it makes it to where the prospects or the attendees, their posture is not guarded. Their posture is, oh, wow, I never knew that. That's very helpful, very informative. This guy knows or gal knows what they're talking about. And okay, this sounds great. And then it becomes their idea. And when it's their idea as to what they want, man, it just knocks that whole sales presentation, that slick sales pitch out of the way. And it truly is education. I do tell people frequently, nobody likes insurance because nobody understands insurance. That if I can put it into terms that everybody can understand, we'll say put it in plain English, man, it just makes all that salesy feel just go away, and it is truly education. The opportunity really is awesome. Jumped into this, doing this, really not knowing what to expect, hoping for the best. And yes, each month, do we hope that there are a greater amount of attendees? Yes, we do. Do we always have the number that we're hoping for? No. But the fruit that has come from these seminars has been as such that I highly recommend anybody that's considering doing it to go ahead and go for it. And so use our outline, use your own outline, do whatever you would like, but I would encourage you definitely do so because the opportunity is there. And I already kind of said this, but I don't know why I am this way. I'm so fearful of people saying, oh, you know, he thinks everybody should do it this way. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I just am passionate about the results that we have seen. And that's why we're sharing this idea with you so that you guys can take advantage of the same opportunity. So jumping to the next slide here, the difference between educational seminars and sales seminars. As you can see, it is a little bit of a challenge when we as salespeople see the opportunity right in front of you to not transition into what feels like a sales seminar. And just probably primarily because it is more of my comfort zone to feel like I'm providing education and information and not letting the client decide. This is something that does fit my, just fits my personality and approach a little bit better, as to keep it more educational. So as you guys can see the difference between the educational seminars and the sales seminars, we are not pushing and promoting any one product at all. We're just adding clarity to the chaos when it comes to Medicare choices, Medicare decisions, all that. You guys know this, all the different parts, all the different plans. You know, there's 29, 30 different Medicare Part D plans to choose from. It's overwhelming. We have doctors, lawyers, engineers, teachers, highly educated people that can't figure this crazy Part D thing out. And so it allows people to come to us for that, I'll just call it that pain in the butt Medicare Part D. But if that's what's bringing them to us, fantastic. We'll embrace that and then help them in the other areas that we really look forward to helping people with. So we'll hit up this next slide here. The definition with CMS rules of what education events are and what they are not, as you guys can see here, must be advertised, may be hosted in a public or private event place. It's the red tape is just not there. I think if I can summarize this slide, the red tape is just not there when you are treating this as an educational event. We're not talking about company specific. We're not talking about product specific. We're just providing information and education. So if you're worried about the red tape, keep it educational and you don't have to worry about it near as much. We had a promotional company trying to share the best times, dates to hold a seminar. And I wish I could give credit where credit is due. I can't even remember the source, but basically we took from that and learned that you want to avoid Mondays, Fridays, and weekends, clearly. The middle of the week is the best. We just learned the hard way on this one, paying attention to holidays, this most recent one. So what we do is we say first Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock. That's what we do. We're holding an educational seminar, what you need to know in preparation for retirement, along with Medicare 101. And so the first Tuesday of the month fell right after the last holiday, Memorial Weekend, and we had one attendee. So learn from our mistakes. You don't really want to do that. Go ahead and pay attention to the holidays. Evening is the best for the folks that we're targeting, folks that you're targeting. These are likely people that are still working, or at least one of them in the house is still working. So 6 o'clock is what we do, and it seems to work well. And then just advertising the fact that it's going to be a 1-hour seminar. I love to eat. Most people do too. They want to plan around this thing. And if they can say, hey, 6 to 7, then we're going to go grab something to eat. The timing of that just seems to work well. So what does the presentation look like? So when we go through the presentation, I created this thing from scratch. And yes, we've altered it a little bit over time just to make sure that there's good flow to it and that it all makes sense. But I just share, you know, a little bit about my family history of my father and grandfather being in the business and, you know, married with 4 kids and yada, yada, yada. Just to let them know I'm just an average Joe. There's nothing special about me. Insurance has been in my blood. I'm 3rd generation now, and that's who I am and what we do to help people, and then let them know what to expect for that evening of what we're going to cover in the overview of everything. The total slides is just 26, guys. There's nothing fancy about the presentation. There's no slick, nothing. We're going to go through Medicare 101. We're going to talk about Social Security, the timing of when we should start drawing Social Security, things to consider, asset protection, talking about, hey, now I'm getting ready to retire. Likely I have a 401k or IRA that requires some attention. I'm moving into a different season of life, and so my risk tolerance needs to change. And so we just address some solutions with that. The whole thing takes about an hour. The whole thing takes about an hour, and I do encourage people, and I just say, hey, we're done now. Feel free to stick around at the end of this if you have additional questions, and just hang out. Where we do it at the ranch, we've got an indoor riding arena attached to the room that we meet in, and we have horses in there and sometimes some big old longhorn Watusi cattle. And we just joke saying, hey, if you stick around long enough, you might be able to get on the bull. So anyway, that's kind of how that goes. I am going to share with you on our next slide what some of the presentation looks like. One of the first things we go over is the overview. As you can see, the only reason I'm sharing this with you is to show you there's nothing fancy about it. It's just hot topics, Medicare basics, how to utilize Medicare's websites, the difference of the parts A, B, C, and D. What is the difference between Medicare supplement versus Medicare Advantage? Guys, you know this, there's a ton of red tape surrounding Medicare Part D and Medicare Advantage. When we keep it educational, hey, this is the facts of a Medicare with a supplement. These are the facts of choosing a Medicare Part C plan. Here's the ups and downs, ins and outs, not getting into company specific, not getting into pricing, just gives a broad overview of really what road you want to go down. Understanding, and I did kind of touch on this, but if you're working past 65 and I'm eligible for employer benefits, should I stay on that? Or because I'm eligible for Medicare, should I go ahead and transition? So we just talked through a couple of different scenarios, understanding Social Security's website and the benefits that come from that, how you can utilize that to your benefit, and then go through a complete plan that includes hospital and medical, long-term care insurance, who's it for, who's it not for, cancer insurance, and then getting into investments type stuff. So anyway, you see the sum of those slides. That's what it looks like as far as our presentation is concerned. I don't know why I keep repeating this, but I just feel like a lot of people feel like there's some magic to this presentation and the material that we're sharing. It's the same stuff that you and I talk about every day of just helping people understand Medicare in the most simple terms. So that's what those slides are going to look like for our presentation. Tips, guys, this is just the opposite of what I think most people anticipate. I established at the very, very beginning, you are not able to provide, and a lot of you guys are going to frown on this. You are not able to provide your name, your telephone number, your contact information. This is an informational meeting, and if you find this helpful, valuable, you will have my card and you will be able to contact me. And guys, I don't know, it was kind of hard to get to that point because it's like, hey, we got this nice audience, let's capitalize on this. And it works to just keep it educational. They are wide open to the idea of what you're recommending. And at the end of the presentation, the action item is, we encourage you to, it's not a one size fits all, to take advantage of a free one-on-one consultation with yours truly, is what we're saying. But getting into the weeds and the specifics of the nitty gritty of some things really derails the entire thing. So you always have that one guy, I don't know, maybe a gal, but usually you have that one guy that wants to kind of steal the show and take you down a different road, and everybody else is rolling their eyes saying, gee, Merry Christmas. Encourage everybody that, hey, we're going to make sure that we give a really good general understanding of how all of this works. And then when we get into specific questions, that'll be for a one-on-one. The ideal number of folks to come, and this is something that I feel like is a bit of a moving target, because on one hand, you're saying, hey, we're going to limit this to 20. 20 has been our cutoff. But if you have somebody that's getting ready to retire and they need this information, do you accept more? Yes, I would. But as a rule, I would say don't take more than 20 people. Why? Because when you get these larger groups, people really freeze up. They're not comfortable asking questions in front of a larger group. And so everybody just sits there silent and is afraid to talk. With the smaller groups, you get a lot more interaction, and it just works a lot better with a smaller group. So the ideal number of folks would be 20 and less. I feel like when you provide a meal, there's this lingering expectation to buy something at the end of it, that it's hey, this old bait of a free meal is what's going to get them here. We don't advertise any of that. We just have, hey, a bottle of water in front of each chair, and we have homemade chocolate chip cookies or whatever my wife has for that event. So can you do a meal? You can. Are there some limitations on what you can do, or some red tape when you start providing a meal and blah, blah? Yes, I say keep it simple. Snacks, no meals, bottled water. To help promote the event for future seminars, yes, it is helpful to have someone taking some photos that you can use for future promotions. Handing out business cards, no sign-in sheets, we did address that. Event locations, a couple of ideas. We built a fun little ranch with a really cool meeting room, family room, kitchen, whole 9 yards. And that's where we are currently holding now. We're venturing out. We've already scheduled, and we've got some folks signed up for our next locations out of town. And those can include convention centers, hotels, libraries, would be other ideas depending on the area that you live in. We have some new agents that say, oh my gosh, I want to do what you're doing, because they're seeing the results. And I have to say, I'll make up Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones, I would not recommend you to do this. And well, why not? You're in a lot of luck with it. You have a lot of credibility being up in front of a group. And as soon as you're asked a couple of questions that you have no idea the answer to, you lose all of that credibility. So you have to have some experience under your belt in order to be able to really get up in front of a group. And you know, you can read every book, every insurance book in the world. You're never going to have all of the answers until you have that experience of a bunch of different scenarios, whether they're veterans or they work for this company or that company, and just a bunch of different scenarios. So I wouldn't really advise brand new agents to do this. I just wouldn't. How do we promote the seminars? How do we get the word out to get people to the seminars? And you guys see these things here. I don't get to speak specifically to each one of these things, because we do have a marketing team, a digital marketing team that helps put the word out. But Eventbrite, Facebook ads, we have a great relationship with some pharmacies in our area, and we hand out some brochures there. But that is how we get the word out to get attendees. One of my favorite things that we do is we shoot a recording of any attendee that's willing to share their experience of what they learned at the seminar. And that little testimonial, then they share it to their Facebook friends, to their Facebook, and all their friends see it. And hey, if it's good enough for Kathy, if it's good enough for Sandy, and they're putting that endorsement on it. And it's almost like they're, 60 seconds of fame. Senior age people, a lot of them don't have a video of themselves on social media. But in this situation, it's an edited version of a testimonial video. And I really like that a lot, if you can get somebody to participate in that way. So a couple of ideas of how you can promote your seminars. A brochure that was created to pass out, which we're actually passing them out at pharmacies. And the pharmacist is, hey, Mrs. Jones, you're getting ready to go on to Medicare in the next 6 months. There is an informational meeting that you can take advantage of that I think will be very helpful for you. Here's a brochure that tells you what to expect and where, and then it's just up to the pharmacist to share the date of the next seminar. So that's what that brochure looks like. Guys, we're open books. We don't have any secrets. We're just simply doing what others have done for us in the past, sharing ideas of what works and what doesn't work. So while we don't have all of the answers, we have seen enough success that we'd love to share that with you. How much does it cost to do a seminar? I'm going to the Q&A right now. And so it says, how much does it cost to do a seminar at a conference center or hotel? Something really cool. I don't know. I'm just going to very specifically, 125 bucks for a room, up to 20 people, if I commit to doing it on a regular basis. And I said, regular basis, is that like every month, every week? They're like, we don't specify that much. As long as we know that you're going to continue to use us, we'll do 125 bucks. That is cheap, because if I don't commit to a regular basis, it was like over 300 bucks for that room. So doing it on a regular routine basis, I'm just sharing this. I like having that staple of everybody knows first Tuesday of every month, we're going to be here. My mother-in-law's always texting me, hey, I just talked to somebody and they want to know about your next seminar. When is it? And I'm like, hello, I give you the same answer every time. It's the first Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock, just so that when you do run into, or a client does want to recommend you, you can just keep that same staple answer. Next question. How many people who come to your seminars end up buying a policy? Oh my gosh, that's why we're sharing this today. It seems to be about a month of a lag from the time that I have the first Tuesday of every month to the time that I schedule the appointment and I write the business. It's about 30 days behind in most scenarios. I would say, and I have not done a thorough job of keeping track of numbers, but if they come to the seminar, they are calling to schedule an appointment to meet. And we may do something then, and we may be 2 years out. But those people are all scheduling an appointment to meet on their own. They have to call into the office, and maybe there's a better way to do this, but the results are enough, good enough at this point that we're not really wanting to rock the boat and try something different. Miss Marin, have you done seminars with multiple presenters? What are the pros and cons? I have done, not recently, but I have done seminars with multiple presenters. No issues there, other than when you are trying to figure out, hey, this is an independent agent, this is an independent agent. How are we doing this lead rotation thing? That's probably the only struggle that we've run into, who gets what. And it's a running joke. Well, yeah, you got the good ones that had all the money and I got the ones that were lousy. You can run into that. But Marin, I know your situation and I don't think you'll have any problem having multiple presenters. Works well. From Don, more than once, a client has gone to the bank to retrieve a CD. More than once, I've had a banker kill your efforts. How do you overcome that banker besides a smack upside the head? I really endorse that smack upside the head. No, for me, it's just like this. Mrs. Jones, when you are moving money from one institution to the next, you can anticipate that there's going to be some resistance. Those financial institutions don't want that money to leave their outfit. And so just know that there's going to be some things that you're going to be told. There's going to be some things, some hurdles that they're going to make you jump through, or hoops they're going to make you jump through. That want you to know that what you're currently getting, the national average on a 5-year CD is 0.33%. We're now giving you, in this made up example, a 3% guarantee on your $50,000. Just do the math on the difference there. I know that you have a long-standing relationship with them and they want to give you a guilt trip for moving your money, but there's such a difference in the interest that you're earning. You have to do what's best for you. So when you go to move that CD, Mrs. Jones, what I would advise to eliminate that hurdle is just let them know when that CD comes due. All that I need to do is move that CD into, if it's regular savings money, move it into my checking account. They don't need to know what you're doing with it. And you make out a check to the insurance company. If it's an IRA, we're a totally different story. We are filling out a transfer form, but you still don't have to go into the bank to retrieve that CD. You're simply filling out a transfer form if it's an IRA, and if it's regular savings, non-qualified, you're moving it from that CD into your checking account so that you can write a check. That would be, I feel your pain on that, Don, and That would be my best advice. Copy of the brochure. Yeah, somebody else is in charge of all that fun stuff, but there's a sneak peek at what that looks like. We only ordered, I'm going to say 500 for the first order, believing that there was going to be additional locations that we were going to want to do or make some alterations if we were. I'll just say this, in the brochure you're looking at, let's say we didn't have any luck in Charleston, just not a great attendance. Hey, we're going to scratch out Charleston for our future brochures. Recording of one of your seminars, we newbies can watch to see a pro in action. Farthest thing from the pro is you're going to get. I don't believe we have recorded any of them yet. Definitely would be all in for it. Also all in for anybody can come and watch the seminars at any time if you would like. I know it's probably not convenient for folks to come, but it is something we're willing to share for sure. Copies of the slide presentation available to us, obviously tweaking them for our own info. You know what? I'm not in charge of that. I don't know that I can give you a good answer on that, but just shoot us a note, shoot us a email, and we'll get with you on our ability to share this slideshow. In our area, Pete, I love the question. And this is a constant challenge for me because there are situations where MAPD is the way to go. And there are other situations where Medicare supplement is the way to go. The area in which you live has a huge bearing on what you would be recommending. The clients, do they snowbird? You know, what kind of a network issue are we running into? But all of it is, I think the statistics are there's more people buying, turning 65, more people buying Medicare Advantage, I know, than Medicare supplements. But I don't think that I can just have a blanket answer and say, oh, this one's better, and so more should be going here. Where I live, Medicare supplements are a stronger, have a stronger presence than the MAPD. Do we partner with, we have tried this. We've never really had, read it. Okay, so the question is, sorry, have you partnered with auto homeowner agencies? We have, and we've tried, and tried to just send them business and they send us business. And in some situations I am aware of, it works really well. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I don't know that we've had any relationship that has stuck and been really positive so I just can't say that, yeah, I mean, go for it. I would not shy away from it, but it always feels like for me, I'm sending people to my auto and homeowners insurance agent and I'm not getting anything back. So how much do I want to continue to do that has been my experience. Brandy says she has had issues in the past with advertising the event by mail and Facebook and had little response to people coming. What do you find is best? The power of Facebook is huge. We know this. The power of testimonials from past attendees or ones that have just recently attended, and then they get to share with their little testimonial with all of their friends. And it's not an insurance agent saying, hey, come to my event. It's Kathy saying, hey, this is what I learned. This was my experience, and I think everybody should go. That seems to be just to gain some really good traction. And taking it one step further, some of those folks that did come based on that referral, they're rolling. Here's my 401k. Here's our IRAs. Here's our savings. What do you think is best for us? We're going to follow your lead. And it's like, holy cow, if we could just get more of these people to promote that, that would be huge. David, you joined late. That's okay. I think there's a recording that will be sent to everybody so that you can jump back in and bring yourself up to speed. Insurance companies state that you have to register your seminar with their company and use their materials. Do you have to register your seminar with CMS if it's generic educational only seminar? Do you have to get your slides approved by CMS? No, no, and no. Because it is educational, we do not have to worry about the red tape. We're not promoting a company. We don't work for any one company. Therefore, we don't have our hands tied. We get to just put Medicare 101 into the most simple terms where people can understand and make wise decisions with that information. Brandy's back. Do you mail to turning 65 people in your area for the event? We have not, just not opposed to that. I feel like we've gotten pretty decent results with Facebook ads and word of mouth testimonials and sharing those testimonies on Facebook. And we just haven't ventured into that yet, but that's a great idea. I don't have the full question from Andy, so we'll skip over that one. Andy, if you want to type the whole thing out, be glad to help. Deborah says, do you find you need to schedule multiple times so that your name seminar becomes familiar before attendance really shines? I don't have a good answer for that, Deborah. I wish I did. One of our first 3 events was the best results that we ever had, and you try and put your finger on it. You know, was it the weather? Was it the time of the year? Was it this? Was it that? And there just doesn't seem to be any consistency. Deborah, I like the idea. I had convinced myself that the attendance was only going to get greater and greater as the word spread and you became more established, and it was that staple thing. We have not experienced that, but that's what I was hoping for. Tony, how you doing, Tony? Is there a brochure template on the New Horizons agent website? There's not a template. We're happy to help anybody with this kind of stuff. I say we, you guys know it's not me, it's our digital marketing team, but Tony, just give us a buzz and we'll help in any way that we can. All right, we're going back to Don. Little secret, if a PNC agency also has a life and health license and they fail to talk about LTC, they're setting themselves to legal action. It's advised to make a deal with them, PNC. Okay, got it. Familiar with that. Thank you, Don. Pete, I used to do retirement seminars, very expensive. And lastly, it looks like we've got Andy. Oh, I'm sorry. It was your, there must have been a previous question that I didn't catch. Sorry about that, Andy. Guys, we're going to wrap this baby up. We really appreciate you joining in. Hopefully, there's a nugget from this presentation, from this webinar. It's not even a presentation. From this webinar is something that you can take with you and just excel. And if you have other ideas, other questions that you just maybe don't feel comfortable sharing in front of the whole group, fire away, give us a call, and we look forward to helping out. As you can see the number on the screen, 888-780-7676. Thank you guys. Have a great day.